Morning, good morning, good morning. Hey, good morning to you. How you doing this morning? I hope all is well with you. I'm super excited about what's going on this morning here in Pontiac, Michigan. There's a few events that we have happening that's going to be taking place here in the city of Pontiac, and I just want to get them up real quick. In about 6 minutes, we're going to be over at the Dream Center, 150 Osmond Street for the Community Connect event. Excellent resources there. Dream Center has done a lot of great things in the city of Pontiac, and I just wanted to acknowledge them and make sure that people understand what they have going on. They'll be there from 10 a.m. to 12:30, I believe, today. 10 a.m. to 12:30, I believe, today. And then also, I wanted to. We traditionally give out two we're giving out two, not giving out, I'm sorry, but expressing two thought processes, right? Like giving you some things that you could talk about today and just have, set your day. That's pretty much what this is all about. It comes from our practice of sun slappers and things of that nature. So if you are new to this page, you new to what's going on, yes, you see it running for mayor. I wanted to make sure that people understand clearly that this is more than just about an election. This is more than just about running for a seat. It's about us. It's about really focusing on us and who we are and where we're trying to go and what we're doing. And I know it's tough for a lot of people out there. It is tough for a lot of people, not just in Pontiac, but across this country and across this state. And I know that this election it would appear to be just, oh, another election, right? Another, folks just talking. Well, I want to offer a different approach. I want to offer something different. I want to offer that as a candidate for the mayor of Pontiac, that you take the opportunity to get to know me if you don't already. That you don't look at anything else about what people are saying who don't know me, who don't spend no time, who, you look at them and they like, they're a little different. It sounds like they got a little anger in their heart. I'm putting myself out here, as I always have in my city, because I was once one of them people who been hurt by my city and been hurt by people in my city directly. But through all of that, one thing I've clearly understood as I was able to grow through it and watch it and see it, man, hurt people. And I'm not giving them any excuse. But what I will say is to the people who do take the time to understand what's going on in our city and do take the time to want to know what the facts are, not the propaganda, not the sideshow, all of the gimmicks that goes into politics, but really want to know what's going on. Get to know people for yourself. Get to know people for yourself. I put out a post yesterday, and I don't have it up right now. I put out a post yesterday, and one of some quite few. I'm not gonna say it's a lot. I'm not gonna even exaggerate that. Few people were like that had to understand clearly that I don't play about my positions. I don't play about my oath of office. I don't play about the law. I don't play about being a police officer. I'm very serious when it comes to the handling of somebody else's trust in me. And they often would put out, he's a bully. He's a bully. And me and my wife had to have a discussion about it, and my best friend. And I went to him and I said, listen, I don't know how to not protect what I'm giving responsibility for. I do not know how to dummy down who I am to fit passive aggressive people who have ill intentions for people. And I've been like this before I was a police officer. My grandfather, who is a Prince Hall Mason, 32nd, my dad, my uncle, both are Masons in the Masonic order. I was raised in it. And if you know anything about Masons or Eastern Stars, for the most part, they rooted their life in it based upon their service to God, and their word is their word. I don't know anything else. And even when I make mistakes, or even when I've done something that have hurt people or anything, I try to go back and say, hey, listen, I didn't get that right. Can you forgive me? And the forgiveness is on them at a certain point. But you got to make an effort. You gotta go to them and say, hey, I didn't do this right or correct. And some bridges are not made to cross any longer. And so I had to sit back and think about it after listening to my wife, my best friend. And I was like, they was like, you don't stand for, you have zero tolerance for people who mess over people. People who steal money, you go after them. You've done 4 investigations. You working on number 5, who's inappropriately took money that didn't belong to them, accepted bribes for decisions. You have protected our family. You show up for our girls. You show up for our boys. You've protected kids that are even not even yours. That's just what you've done. That's just who you are. And for the first time, I looked at that bully situation and I said, you know what? If being a bully for the residents of Pontiac means you don't get to do whatever you want to them, to us, you don't get to treat us any kind of way because of what you think we are, so be it. I'll accept it. And that's both internal and external. One of my mentors used to call this season silly season because you get all types of people to come around and say things and put things out and use propaganda. And but he said the people who really know you, the people who have seen and experienced your protection, will show up for you. You just got to stay the course. And so for me, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna stay the course. I'm gonna stay the course, and I'm gonna be grateful for the opportunity that God has given me and that the people have given me to do what I need to do. And so I told you we're going to be at the Dream Center. One thing that I want to make sure you get in your hands as well. Um, Let me see if I can get to it real quick. If you haven't had a chance to speak on the master plan, please go and research it. You can go to the City of Pontiac website site or go to visionpontiac.com. Get a copy of it because that is what I'll be using as a guide. I had my thoughts put into it. I've Every survey I filled out, I showed up to a couple of the meetings. I'm heavily invested in it, heavily invested in the city charter. You elected me to the charter to do a job, bring you a charter that, along with 8 other charter members, that works. And you wrote me into that election. I asked that you write me into that election because at first, I got to be honest, I didn't think that me being on that charter was something that I was like, do you think, should we do that? Should we be a part of that? And I didn't know at first, right? Like I didn't know. I didn't know. And it was like, oh, this is what the charter is. We haven't had one passed. And then I started hearing rumbling. What really made me stand out, what really made me stand out of being a part of this charter, so I started hearing rumbling that folks on the charter or who was running for charter wanted to change it drastically. That I felt like we can't afford to do that. We can't afford to do that. Not not that. We can't afford to have a city manager as a leader. We've had somewhat of a city manager, and they call them emergency manager. Mainly one person in charge of Pontiac. And sure, they have uh, maybe a few trustees, but then with a city like Pontiac, that's because of the trust issue, there'll be individuals who got in by name popularity and then choose a city manager, then they just sell off and do whatever else that they want. And city managers work in other areas when there's trust in that particular community. And then there's a level of accountability. So with not having a charter already in place, that was something we wasn't doing. So I asked you to write me in and you wrote me in. Because I said, strong mayor form of government where the people elect their leader. Whether you like it or not, that is what Pontiac residents want. And overwhelmingly, you supported the charter, the new charter. Now, I won't go into details because now that you voted to say, hey, we have a strong form of mayor government, that's what we want the government to look like. Let's just say that those other plans went out the window and now they want to do something different. Oh, man. And we will, throughout this campaign, have that conversation. Because I'm wondering how you want to change something and all of a sudden want to lead it. So, with that being said, you gave us the opportunity to do that. And we did that. And we brought you a strong charter. And so between that charter and this vision plan, those are the things that we're going to use to push our city forward, because those are the two things that are driven by the people, the community. At least the ones that came out and said, "Hey, we want to be a part of the process." And so again, until we can build more trust, and we will, I believe that we'll build more trust. Until we do that, the SAFE initiative, this is the mantra in which has guided me throughout since '05 being a precinct delegate. These are the concepts that I just I have to have something in front of me to guide me, to keep in front of me to say this is the focus. Because there's a lot of negative there's quite a few negative things when you serving people that can get you distracted and get you off onto something different. And so using allowing the charter and the master plan to be the guide, right? The reference books, the Bibles, the city Bibles, basically. The fuel, the vision surround my SAFE initiative. And again, SAFE has been around me since 2005. So when we're talking about safer neighborhoods, as a police officer, continuing as I have been, there's no other candidate that knows the city in its light and dark moments better than me. Not a one. And I'm not talking about policing neighborhoods because some people will have you think that, oh, one incident, that means it's happening everywhere. And it's just simply not true. They like to use propaganda. They like to stir the pot, if you will, and then come in, make a bunch of noise, and then fade away. But we know how to deal with when we have drugs on our neighborhood blocks and our streets. When we had the influx of few gangs coming in who was not from Pontiac, but was recruiting, we knew how to handle that and have handled that. So as a Pontiac police officer, now working for the sheriff's office, I know what it takes to be that gatekeeper of safety in the neighborhoods. It's a direct source. It's a direct connect. There's no middleman. There's no, you got to go find that out from somebody else. You come directly to me. I'm showing up to cause as I've always shown up. I'm showing up to situations and can break down the situation and give it to you firsthand in your living room, not waiting to somebody else, get a report to give me a report to say something. It's time out for that. And I've had to learn to wait to be in this position because to be able to serve you correctly, there were things that we had to do. And it took time. And I stayed consistent in it until we were able to do something different and move in a different direction. Accountability. Accountability. Who's more accountable than me? This city has held me to a higher standard my whole career. My whole career, this city has held me to a higher standard. And I said, okay. I said, okay. And so from the time I introduced myself over to Pontiac Central High School, where we had a principal embezzling money, and I started that investigation, to the time I got on the school board, an administrator was embezzling money. I put in a forensic audit, found out $157 million mismanagement in funds. We were $56 million in deficit when I first got into the district. Into helping to pass a bond and then securing funding from the state and making sure that we can get rid of that in long-term debt that we borrowed when we had a consent agreement. I'm not going to say emergency manager, but a consent agreement rep. Yeah, I've been through it all. Right there. Right there. and being held accountable, right or wrong or indifferent. I listen to you. What are we going to do for our kids? Even up into having to reorganize the district, walking the community through to how we want our educational system to look like. Back in '07, '08, till we had to close one school and become Pontiac High. To even now, watching folks who made backdoor deals and wanted to do something just for them and had nothing to do with children and create this atmosphere of have and the have-nots. ITA was a program. It was not supposed to be a separate school. But we're going to talk about that. We're going to bring out the facts to that. Accountability. We cannot move forward without it. And if people don't learn to accept it and stop creating other problems because they don't want to be held accountable. What I found out is when you do something wrong or you in the midst of it, people will be okay with it as long as you can accept that. So the accountability piece is very strong to the people for me. Financial stability, like I said, I've worked with hundreds of millions of dollars. I've organized the budget. When I became the president of the school board back 2022, I believe it was, I was able to go in because of my financial background throughout the years and my forensic audit experiences, inclusive to being on a transitioning team, helping to make the decision to start a forensic audit when we got over to the municipality. I believe in financial stability because no matter how much we love something, it costs. And we can't just be making decisions without knowing how much money we have. It's very important. That is very, very important. I have that experience. I have a national level experience of working with board members across the country, working with board members and their respective municipalities. So I know what it takes to have the municipality and the school district work together. The personalities cannot get in the way of the work of the children and the people of the city. And so what we will do is we will find a way to making sure that we are in a position to be stronger as a community. It is 5 different school districts in this city. 5. It's not just the Pontiac School District. So even though we focus majority on that because that is our principal public school, there's 5 other districts here. There's roughly over 10,000 or so kids in our city that attend these schools. We have to ball up our fists and work together. Because the decisions that's being made in Lansing, and because I work on the national level, because I've worked on the state level, I have the resources and relationships to making sure that we can stay connected, that we can weather this storm together. It's about experience. But that didn't happen overnight. I stayed the course. We passed the bond. And even though we had individuals that came in, and I believe through the research, through what we've seen with the change orders, they were trying to have other plans for that money. I'm just going to keep it plain language with y'all today. And we were able to stop them. And we were able to stop them, turn the direction around, make sure that we finish the football field, making sure we finish the basketball field, the sports complex that you see over there, WHRC, the improvements that you see at the middle school, what you see going over at Harrington. Those things happen under my watch. Those things happen because I was bold in rooms where I told individuals, if you do not want to be here, if you are not here on behalf of our kids, put your keys on the table and leave. And I was called a bully. I was called, everything under the child of God. But you know what? They didn't get no more of that money. Hey, we're getting what we're supposed to be. And even though people may not understand fully or been able to see it, people can now see their dollars at work. So accountability to the people is very important to me. Financial stability is very important to me. Economic success, being a small business owner and having to have the ability to work in industries where I've made we my wife is an entrepreneur. She's had her business for over 30 years. Like understanding the dynamic, of all of that and understanding the importance. Pardon me, I'm excited. I'm excited. The importance of making sure that everybody has success in the economic space here in the city of Pontiac. If we go back to in our industrial days, they had second businesses. They were our skilled trades folks. They were electricians and plumbers and work with their hands. And right now they call it the fancy word of workforce development. It's just about getting people at the table and then also finding out, going to them students and saying, what is it that you want to learn? Instead of putting something up there to them or giving them something that they may not even be interested in. Workforce development only happens when the people are playing a role in the development, when they are being asked what they want, and then we're providing. I believe in workforce development. In the school districts, we call them across the country, we either call them NAV programs, magnet schools, or CTE, whatever names, but they're industry programs that when kids graduate, they have a skill set that they can immediately use. But what about the adults who got trapped in the cracks of the community because we didn't necessarily do what we were supposed to do and we didn't keep guard for them? What about our returning home folks who've done jail time? They know they did wrong, but don't want to go back. What about them? So we got to look at it for economic success for everybody, for everyone. And so that SAFE initiative has been there for me. It's been the guiding post for me. And it will be. So listen, it's 30 minutes. I won't keep you long. Each and every Saturday we do this, right? So tap the like button, type the like, put on your notifications for us so we know exactly, you know what I'm saying? You know exactly when we're coming on. And we're going to bring some guests on during this election season and go live and have conversations. But we're going to get into it. And so I tell you this, if I have to be the person that's going to stand in the gap for our kids and our community, that's me. You can call me whatever name, but you're going to know I'm going to be the one to deliver. I'm the safest vote. I am the safest person. You can trust me with your vote. You can trust me with your vote. Because I'm here and I'm not going nowhere. And I've proven that. I don't just show up during this time. And it's okay if people do. We're not even on that. We're not even, it's okay. People got to make life choices and decisions for themselves. But I'm just saying I'm the most consistent. And I'm the one that can relate to what majority of our residents go through on a regular basis. And we're going to improve it. So I'm asking for your support. I'm going to continue to ask for your support. So enjoy the rest of your day. We're going to get over here to the Dream Center. It started already. We're going to be there till about 12:30. I got to get out of here. God bless you. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. And I'll see you soon.